The Doctor's In. Here's your host and principal of High Tech High School, North Bergen, New Jersey, Dr. Joseph Jamarella.
Hello, everybody. It's The Doctor's In with Dr. Joseph Jamarella. I'm John Placino. And we have quite an interesting, I think, informative show today. And we're going to start it off with Dr. Jamarella giving you what's happening in high tech. So here's some high tech news. Joe?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. After a long hiatus, we're finally back on the air. And you could listen to us on Radio.org, Ustream.com, and we have our call-in lines at 201-854-8224 and 201-854-8199. Today we're going to talk a little about what's been going on in high tech so far this year, and also things that are coming up, different events that we're going to be having, and also some of our clubs and activities will be represented here. So first thing I'd like to do is introduce two students here who are members of our dance club. It's something that is newly formed here, and I will let them introduce themselves and also tell you a little bit about the program. So go ahead, guys.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Darian.
And I came up with the idea of the High Tech Dance Club about during the summer, and I basically just tried emailing teachers asking for who would want to represent the club, and I sent emails to Dr. G asking if the club would be if it could possibly open. After that, I didn't really know if it was going to start when I came back to school as a junior, but I basically spent almost every day going every single teacher asking if they could be possible representative, if they would be able to stay after even like just a few days to help to keep the club up. And I finally found a teacher, Miss Camp, who was willing to stay after school on Mondays. And the club pretty much just started. Today was the first day. The club is basically revolved around students teaching students, because I know no one has this exact same style. No one wants to keep learning the exact same style over and over. And I just knew that there were a lot of there wasn't a dance club or that many dance activities after school. So I talked to some dance majors, and they told me they never remembered being anything that had to do with dance after school. So I kind of asked them if they were willing to come, if they wanted to teach. So I got a few people who were willing to teach, become a part of the club, and help it out. We have about, I'm guessing, around 20 students who are willing to come. We have about 4 people who are willing to teach every week. When we basically could keep alternating between the 4 people who are willing to teach every week, and then if someone just randomly wants to teach, they just ask me, sign up, tell the style, and they're teaching the next week.
Great. That's good to hear. Darian, anything you want to weigh in on?
Well, I think that the club it has a lot of benefits because we don't have that many, we have no sports activities after school. So the club really helps in creativity. It helps people stay in shape. And it's just a very good club for anyone who'd like to learn something new.
Good. And you said you had about 20 people who signed up for it? That's good. That's good for something new. That's a very good subscription.
Yeah.
Okay. What else you hope to accomplish? Anything you plan on putting on any performances at the end of the year, or have you thought about that?
I've given it some thought, but I need to first know the level of which all the other students are at, because I know I can't just take a new dancer and say we're going to perform next week, get ready. So I'd rather wait until they're ready and then ask them if they're willing to perform.
Good. I know you brought a few other students with you.
Yes.
You want to bring them in?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, why don't we bring them in? You guys can get up, and we'll talk with Dr. Jamarella a little bit more about Spirit Day. Joe, why the other people are coming in. maybe we can talk a little bit about Spirit Day.
Okay, sure. We, about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, we had members of Student Government and Council of Diversity coming in to discuss with me having Spirit Day. Now, it didn't start out just as Spirit Day. It started out as a remembrance of Tyler Clementi, the Rutgers student who unfortunately committed suicide because of his sexual orientation. So on that day, as a remembrance to him, as well as a remembrance to 7 other students and people who unfortunately took their lives because of harassment and bullying, along that same type of, for the same type of reason, we decided to combine everything as a day of remembrance or Spirit Day in their memory.
Oh, good. Before we get into the next round of interviews, let's talk a little bit about bullying.
Okay, sure.
And then that's a good lead-in. I mean, we can lead right into a very big issue in today's schools and all over the nation is the issue of bullying. And Joe, what do we have on that?
Well, I'll tell you, the district has a zero tolerance policy on bullying, zero tolerance policy on harassment. So we are very cognizant of the situation, and we make every attempt to keep it out of high tech. It's a significant, there are a significant number of bullying cases throughout the country, throughout the state of New Jersey. We just happen to be fortunate insofar as that we do not see our fair share, if you will, at High Tech High School.
Yeah, we are fortunate. It's a good school in that way. But in any school, you're going to have bullying. I think a lot of times when you have more of an athletic school, maybe with jocks and all that kind of stuff, you do see more of that. But this wasn't even this. This incident in Rutgers was not an incident. That was just somebody that was had a prank going on with his camera and his roommate, and it kind of blossomed into.
Right. Unfortunately, pranks and, if you will, fooling around, even if it's a very innocent pushing or shoving match in the cafeteria, usually turns into something much bigger. So, unfortunately, in the Rutgers incident, it started out as something that prank, practical joke, something that may be funny, but unfortunately, it turned into something that was extremely serious, and the particular person took his life because of it.
Right.
So, you know, at High Tech, we try to eliminate the pushing, the shoving. You can't do it all the time, but eventually the students realize why we're doing that.
Oh, the new dance students. What's your names?
I'm Idris Hoffman.
And I'm Muslim Zaveri.
Okay, before we get into the interview with Dr. Giamarello, do you have any thing you would like to say about this issue?
Well, I wasn't really bullied in public school or at High Tech at all whatsoever, but I think students themselves should stand up for themselves more often, because you get students like Tyler Clementi, for example, who unfortunately just decided to kill himself, commit suicide, for a better, yeah. And I think what he should have did was, even if that would have got him in trouble, because let's face it, trouble isn't necessarily the best thing to be in, but if it comes to standing up for yourself, and if it feels it's the right thing, I mean, he could have taken it into his own hands. I'm not saying violence and like what a lot of kids on the streets do, pull a gun or something, not like that, but there could have been a better resolve to that situation.
Okay.
For those, let me just interrupt for 1 second. For those of you out in our audience who would like to weigh in on this particular subject, you could reach us at 201-854-8224, or 201-854-8199. We'd love to hear from you and join in the conversation and weigh in with your remarks. And
I know, like, I've experienced
what's your name first?
My name is Musin.
Okay.
I've experienced my fair share of bullying, but, like, it's basically what Idris said. The outcome of the situation most of the time depends on the actions taken by the person that is being bullied. Like, that person can just sit there and take it, and then it encourages to be bullied more often than like taking it into your own hands. It doesn't mean like go out and get into a fight. You could go tell a teacher or someone, all these like answers to the problem, like, because this is a common thing, really, unfortunately, and it's not new. And people, even though they think adults are just trying to tell us this, when we are being told, it's actually the right solution, but they're too scared to, do anything about it.
Well, I appreciate your comments, and there's one thing that we try to do at High Tech is to make all students comfortable to go to anyone in the building. Whether, as you said, it's a teacher, a guidance counselor, my office is always open. So I think if the students know and understand the avenues that they have, it makes it easier for them to handle the situation.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing you have to do is go say, hey, listen, I think I have a problem. Help me out.
Okay. Doctor, you want to interview them on any other aspect about the dance program, or do you want to go into the next issue?
What made you join?
Me, I joined because I've always been interested in b-boying and Darien shuffles, so I wanted to pick that up. I'm not necessarily into popping, but it'd be nice to learn and take everything I could. What about you, Musa?
Me, I just wanted to learn how to dance. Like, you go to a party and you just stand there at the table or something with like a drink, and you just saw, I wish I could be up there with everybody else. You know how it is. Plus, like, the ladies.
Okay. Let's not go there. Okay, guys. Anything else you want to say with regard to bullying or the dance program or anything else that's on your mind? Now's the time.
As far as bullying goes, I think more students or kids or whatever the situation may be, because it's older people as well. I mean, unfortunately, you just have to like take a stand and don't for lack of a better term, don't be punked out. Don't let these other people push you around, even though they may be bigger than you or they may not like you or there's a crowd against you. You have your own support as well. You might not see it in front of you, but you just have to look. You have your family, you have other people on the internet that will support you. They could be strangers, but they will come to your side and just defend you. I mean, it's nothing you really have to deal with. You shouldn't have to deal, like, we're all human beings, we're all equal, and it's nothing you really should have to deal with.
I think you're absolutely right, and that was a very, very nicely made point. It's something that you really don't have to deal with, and it's something that you should not have to deal with.
Right.
Guys, I thank you for being here. You're listening to The Doctor's In. We'll be right back, and you can reach us at 201-854-8244, and we're on WHITradio.org and Ustream.com. We'll be right back.
Play ball! Now pitching, Dave Black.
Dave is about to catch his opponent off guard. Not with his nasty fastball. No, instead of a fastball, Dave will be hurling a tomato.
And the pitch.
Ooh. Using tomatoes as baseballs won't go over well with anyone. But if you're looking to hit the ball further and throw better, eating a healthy diet that includes fruits and vegetables is a home run. Packed with nutrients, they could help keep your body healthy and strong, giving you the energy you need to hit that grand slam. When you look at it this way, Eating tomatoes is playing hardball against the competition. Run, throw, think, eat better. Can your food do that? Find out at smallstep.gov.
That's smallstep.gov.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, we're back. It's the Doctors in, WHIT Radio.org. First segment, we talked about bullying, and we also gave you some high-tech news. And in this segment, Dr. Jamarella is going to talk a little bit about teen peer pressure. And we have a new person in the booth, a new person in the studio. And Dr. Joe, you want to take it away here?
Okay, appreciate it, John. Thank you. Welcome back to the Doctors In. I'm Dr. Jamarella, and you're listening to us at WHITradio.org. And you could call us in and weigh in on any of the topics that we're going over today at either 201-854-8244 or 854-8199. With me today, going back to one of the topics that we were going to be speaking about today is upcoming events, is Julia Smalls. She is running for president of the freshman class, and she has agreed to be here with us today and discuss her feelings and her reasons for running for freshman class president. Just to make a point, to make sure everyone understands, all of the candidates, whether they were running for president, vice president, secretary, or treasurer, were invited, or class representatives were invited to be here today to make a statement and participate in the interview. Julia was the only one who showed up. So, Julia, you're on your own.
Okay. Well, my name is Julia Small. I'm running for freshman president. And, well, first I'd like to say, I guess I'll say my slogan, which is think big, vote small, since that's my last name.
I like that.
Thank you. And I guess as president, I can bring a bunch of different things to my class. I really like working with people in general, and I think that I can communicate what people want, and I guess what they want to do, how I can communicate to the teachers and staff people's ideas, and the freshman students, I can talk to them and talk to the other student council members and get their ideas to actually happen. And that's one of the things that I'm very good at. I was a student council member in my last school for 2 years, and both of those years we had many good events. We fundraised a lot. We had a lot of parties. We donated a lot of money to causes that needed money, and yeah.
Okay. Just one question that I would have at this point. If you get elected, what is the most important thing that you feel needs to be done for the freshman class at High Tech?
Well, money is always needed to be raised, not only for the freshman class, but for other, I guess, other charities and for causes. There's always money to be needed in places, and I have many ideas for ways to get that money, and that's one of the things. I have a bunch of lists and ideas, and a bunch of my friends have actually told me ideas that they would like to be done if I become president. And I think that's really important because I don't think that money is so important, but in order to have, I guess, a good freshman year and an enjoyable freshman year, there are always going to be the things that money needs, that you need money to buy. And yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, as a former class advisor, freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and eventually senior year, it's very difficult to accumulate enough money individually to do all of the things that you individually or as a class would like to do, whether it's a senior prom, a junior semi-formal, you name it, you're right, it costs money. And to start the fundraising process now is a good idea. I don't want you to tell me everything, but one thing other than a cake sale that you might think about doing.
Well, when the weather gets nicer, lots of sales are like a lemonade sale, smoothie sales are always great, bake sales, all those things are great.
Don't tip your whole hand. Very good. Okay. Okay. I'll ask you, do you want to weigh in on the bullying issue?
Sure.
Go ahead. You're on.
Well, I think bullying is really serious. A lot of my friends in my last school, bullying was a major issue in my last school, so it was very difficult. A lot of my friends were bullied, and in ways that I don't think are okay. I mean, one of my closer friends was bullied on her size, and she's not large at all, nor has she ever been. And when we went swimming for gym class, kids in my class bullied her because they said that they thought that she was ugly or fat or anything like that. And I think that is that's awful, because everybody is a different size, and that's how God made us, or how we were created. And we're the same person no matter how we look, and there's nothing that can be changed about that. So bullying, the only benefit of somebody bullying somebody is to make themselves feel better, and that's not a very good benefit. If I thought that somebody was ugly, or that I thought that I didn't like them, then there's no reason to be mean to them and harass them to a point where they would be so upset as to hurt themselves or kill themselves or not come to school or not be social. So I would never do that, because that's extremely awful to take something, an opinion that you think, and turn it into something that will affect somebody else's life. And that kind of thing can stay inside of you, and there's no reason to tell somebody how you feel about them in that way unless it's affecting you. Like, if they're mean to you, then you can tell them, you're being mean to me, but you can't tell them you're ugly and harass them emotionally or physically. That's not okay.
Okay. You obviously participated in Spirit Day that we had here a couple weeks ago with the purple.
Yes, I did.
Okay. John, if you could, I'm going to show a few clips somehow.
Okay.
All right, are we on?
Yeah, we're on.
Okay. These are some of the students who participated. Now, granted, we didn't get the opportunity to take pictures of everyone, but there's certainly a good representation here. As you can see, the theme of the day was purple. In fact, we called it Spirit Day. I called it Purple Day. We obviously succeeded in what we tried to do, and if nothing else, make harassment and bullying something that we consciously try to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll go through these fast, and there's Mr. Perez and his class. And as you can see, we had quite a few students, if not all the students, participating. We got a little bit ahead of ourselves, but that's okay. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about? You have your 15 minutes of time to say anything that you would like to say, present anything you would like to present. You know, we talked about bullying. We can talk about any other issue that.
Well, let's talk about teen peer pressure, which goes hand in hand with bullying, basically.
Okay.
It's pretty prevalent. Usually, it's leading the kids down the wrong path. Peer pressure, teen peer pressure. But they say when a child reaches 15, 14, they listen to their friends. Their friends have a bigger impact than their parents at that age. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Okay, Joe?
Go ahead. Okay, peer pressure. Julia.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that peer pressure also in my last school was a major problem. Lots of things were done that people may not have exactly felt comfortable with doing because of their friends. Peer pressure isn't always negative. Peers may pressure others into negative behaviors or away from positive behaviors, but can push in positive directions as well. Not all teens react to peer pressure in the same way. Gender and age are factors. For example, boys are more susceptible than girls to peer pressure. Younger teens are more easily influenced than older teens, with peer pressure peaking in about 8th or 9th grade. Individual characteristics such as confidence level, personality, and degree of maturity make a difference. Peer pressure varies according to the situation, being with one close friend, in the small circle of friends, or seeing what the larger peer group is doing in school. Also, teens who feel isolated or rejected by their peers or in their family are more likely to engage in risky behaviors in order to fit in with a group. In such situations, peer pressure can make good judgment and fuel risk-taking behavior, drawing a teen away from the family and positive influences and luring into dangerous activities. I think that this passage is very true in many ways. It says, where it says that younger teens are more easily influenced than older teens. I think that's true, and I know from experience that that is true, because when you're young, and especially when you're a young teenager, it's very difficult to find the right friend group and to know people well enough to know if they're good kids or bad kids, and that is very difficult. In high school, it's especially in your freshman year or in 8th grade, it's really hard to do that kind of thing. Especially starting in a new school, you need to find the right friends that are good and a good influence on you and understand you for you and don't want you to just be there and so that they can, I guess, manipulate you into doing these things and helping them. And
All right. What's your name again?
Julia Small.
You got my vote.
Mr. Placino doesn't have to be impartial. I do. I'll tell you, you hit upon a number of things that I think we really need to address. And one of the things is you mentioned that it happens in your early teenage years. I think that's dangerous for a couple of reasons. And again, you hit upon one of those reasons. You want to be part of a group, and the group may not be the right group to be part of. Mm-hmm. And you're going to get, I'm sure, well, everybody else does it. Mm-hmm. And the thing that comes to mind is cheating. And, you know, I'm not saying that it's prevalent in high tech, and I'm not saying it's not prevalent in high tech. I'm sure cheating isn't necessarily just copying homework. Cheating is also plagiarizing. Mm-hmm. And everybody does it. I got caught. You know, so it's in an effort to get good grades, you feel the need to plagiarize, mm-hmm. or you feel the need to copy somebody else's homework just to make sure you get it done. So peer pressure works both ways. In California, there was a vote yesterday on Proposition 19, which had to deal with the legalization of marijuana. We're going to get back to that in our next segment, so if you want, you could stay. If you can't stay, feel free to leave when we go to break. You're listening to Doctors In, WHITradio.org, Ustream.com. I'd like to thank Julia, and we'll be right back.
Attention shoppers, if anyone is missing a rather plump set of love handles, please come to the customer service counter and claim them. The ample love handles were lost in the produce department where their former owner had purchased fruits and veggies to munch on during the big game. Thank you and have a good day.
Small step number 81, snack on fruits and veggies. It's just one of the many small steps you can take to get healthy. Learn more at www.smallstep.gov.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
right, we're back. Doctor's in with Dr. Joseph Giamarella, and we've been talking about bullying and teen pressure, and we've had some great interviews. Most recently with a young lady who's running for freshman class president, is it? Yes. And let's talk a little bit about that Proposition 19. Quite a few students wrote about it from my broadcasting class, and it seems to be a very interesting topic. And it was defeated 54-46, I believe.
Yes, 46%. Yes.
And the law basically was focused on allowing anyone over 18 to carry with them or possess with them about an ounce worth of marijuana. There was a lot of people that were for it, a lot of people that were against it. I think one of the biggest issues around it is that a drug called alcohol, which just recently scientists said that it was probably the worst drug out there, is perfectly legal, yet cigarettes, nicotine are perfectly legal for anybody to get, but marijuana is not legal at all and also punishable by law. So I think it's a little bit hypocritical. So your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll tell you, some of the exit polls in California, that happened to be one of the things that was brought up about alcohol and cigarettes. There was an article about a week ago that I read that said that alcohol is more dangerous a drug than marijuana, and not because one is legal and one is not one is illegal and one is legal. Alcohol destroys more families than marijuana does. Now, whoever wrote this article, I'm sure, had the facts to back it up.
Right.
But to me, it seems that if one can be proven to be more detrimental to family as well as persons, whether it's physically or mentally, then something has to be done.
Right.
Now, whether that means since one is bad will make the other one that's not as bad legal also, I don't know if that's the case.
Right.
But in California, a lot of the voters, since it was a midterm election, decided that this was the best time to put Proposition 19 on the ballot because the younger voters weren't going to vote.
Right.
So they felt that they had a little bit of an edge.
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
So with that edge, it went down to defeat, and it was a pretty substantial defeat, 54-46. That's 8 percentage points. In a state like California, those are big numbers.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it. I don't think it's, really healthy for you. I don't think it's good for you. I think it would have been an economic boon for California if they could have taxed it and not let the middleman or the underground get all the money. So I think on that point they missed out. Essentially, in California, it's legal anyhow. You can get medical marijuana for having insomnia, so you just go to a doctor and get it anyhow. So it essentially is legal. But again, it is not. I don't think it's healthy. A lot of people think it is, but I don't particularly tout it. But I do think nicotine and alcohol are as bad, if not worse. So that's my opinion.
I think you're right. Anytime you have to go to an illegal drug or an illegal substance to make you feel good, something's wrong to begin with.
Right.
I mean, I smoked for a lot of years, and I'm sure a lot of people did. I quit.
Yeah.
It was time for me to quit, not for any physical reason, but mentally it was time to quit. And I did. Do I miss it? Occasionally. But that's something that you have to deal with. It's like someone who's a recovering alcoholic. You can't go back and just have one drink.
Right.
I would never be able to go back and have one cigarette. It's not going to happen.
So smoking cigarettes, that nicotine is they probably say it's as bad as heroin, the addiction, maybe even worse.
It was a struggle to quit, believe me.
Yeah.
Okay, Julia is back with us, and so we have a new guest here.
Sam.
Sam? Okay, Sam. What's your last name, Sam?
Alexandri.
Alexandri, very good. Okay. Obviously, you came in while we were talking about Proposition 19 in California. We covered bullying, and I think we're going to change speeds a little bit and ask you to tell us what's going on in Chorus.
Well, we're having a major showcase on December 16th and 17th where each of the performing arts majors will do a little part, and it's a celebration of the arts.
Good. And that's going to be held here?
Yes, in the Black Box.
Good. And what time?
I think 7 o'clock each of the nights, and there might be a 3 o'clock, but I'm not really sure.
Okay, great. And I guess that's what I was hearing down the hall before.
Yes, we're rehearsing for the showcase.
Very good. Are you looking for members or?
I think we have everybody we need. We're looking for people to come see it.
Oh, I'm sure you'll get people to see it. Once they find out what's going on, I'm sure people will get to see. When do you plan on advertising it? I guess after Thanksgiving?
Yeah, we'll probably put up flyers and different things after Thanksgiving.
Good. Question. How did you get involved with the choir?
Well, I'm a musical theater major.
Okay.
And so I'll be performing with the choir and with the musical theater class.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been doing musical theater since I was in 2nd grade because my mother runs the Hoboken Children's Theater.
Okay.
So, and choir's just like a branch of that, like singing and stuff.
Good. Obviously you enjoyed it.
I really do, yes.
Good. I can tell you, I saw some of the shows last year and the year before, and I have not seen shows produced and directed as good as I've seen at High Tech, and that's bar none. So I'd like to congratulate the staff there and the students. You're listening to the Doctors In on WHIT. We're weighing in on, anything from bullying to Proposition 19 in California, any current events that are going on in High Tech, or any future events that are going on in High Tech, and feel free to weigh in at 201-854-8224 or 201-854-8189. We're here with Julia and Samantha, and what would you like to weigh in on? You have your choice.
Well, we have an international issue, if you guys want to talk about it. Joe, you have some information, I think, on Haiti and that ongoing tragedy there.
Yes.
I find that very interesting and very,
in January of this year, Haiti had a 7.0 magnitude earthquake. We did some fundraising here. The international community, because of the severity of the earthquake, decided that they were going to contribute a lot of money. Just a couple of, sad facts. An estimated 230,000 people died, 300,000 injured, and more than 1 million people were made homeless. The United States pledged $1.15 billion in relief aid. about 50 other nations pledged a total of $8.7 billion. Some of the aid from the United States made it there. Some of the aid from the other 50 countries that pledged, out of that $8.75 billion, $686 million reached Haiti, less than 15% of the total. For something that has a direct effect on a lot of students in the school, a lot of people in Hudson County, and throughout this metropolitan area. I think it's a sad commentary that there are still people living in tents in the street, and I believe last week there was Hurricane Tomas, could have hit Haiti, could have made a direct hit on Haiti, and that's a situation that we should not have allowed to progress this far. Comments?
Well, I think it's awful what's going on there, and especially it's really bad here also because a lot of I guess the citizens of our country are from Haiti, and especially in such a diverse community that's now been built up. It's really hard for people. And when I found out that there was such an awful earthquake, I felt awful, and I wanted to do as much as I could. My class, we tried to raise as much money to send over. My family, we donated money. We went to our church and we prayed, and we did everything that we thought that we could. And it seems like nothing's been helping, and it's really awful. What's us as a country, we haven't had to really face as many awful things as countries who are vulnerable to this kind of thing have had to face, which is, I guess in a way, not fair, because such a poor country is being ruined and has been ruined so many times that it doesn't seem like it's fair for them. They keep trying to build it up, and they don't have enough money to, and it's just not working, and it's just being ruined.
Well, there's a cholera epidemic now. It hit about 2 weeks ago, and that's in direct response to bacteria in the waters, bacteria in sanitation, and that all goes back to supplies and food and shelter. And people are starving, and about 10 miles away in a storage area somewhere, there's tons of food. Why doesn't that food get to the people that need it? Why is the distribution so bad? Why aren't the funds that are pledged being honored? I mean, not only just from the United States, all over the world. I mean, I think about $4 or $5 billion was pledged. They've gotten about $500 million out of that. So these are all questions, you know.
Mm-hmm. Those are very good points, and I see where you're coming from, and I think that it's just awful that we live in such a corrupt world that things like that would happen, where people, out of the goodness of their heart, and they care so much that they want to donate money and give their love and care, that and these corrupt people don't care. They're selfish, and they don't care about people in need, and they take these things and they make up charities that donate money to these awful natural disasters.
Hold that thought. We'll be right back, and we'll continue with the charitable organization.
Attention shoppers, if anyone is missing a rather plump set of love handles, please come to the customer service counter and claim them. The ample love handles were lost in the produce department, where their former owner had purchased fruits and veggies to munch on during the big game. Thank you and have a good day.
Small step number 81, snack on fruits and veggies. It's just one of the many small steps you can take to get healthy. Learn more at www.smallstep.gov.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
All right, we're back. It's Dr. Zinn with Dr. Joseph Giamarella. We were talking about Haiti and the tragedy that exists there still today. And we wanted to continue our discussion. So, Joe, take it away.
Okay. Julia made mention of the amount of money that was collected. John, you made mention of the amount of money that was collected and how much money never reached Haiti that was committed to. I'd be very interested to see some research done on the amount of money collected by charitable organizations in general, be it the Red Cross, Salvation Army, pick a charity, and find out of every dollar that's contributed, how much actually goes to where it has to go. And I would venture to say that it's not as much as they make you think it is. And I know there were a lot of organizations collecting money for Haiti. I believe the only organization that really could have made any type of impact on the Haitian population was UNICEF, because somewhere I read or I heard that 85% of the monies that are collected, 85 cents on a dollar, went directly to aid the people in that area, as opposed to other organizations that.
Even Red Cross, even the Red Cross.
I think Red Cross, Salvation Army, all of these organizations, the most
effective was
UNICEF. You know, and that's from a financial point of view.
Right.
I know they had Doctors Without Borders went down there and actually supplied physicians and nurses and hospital supplies. I'm not even looking at that issue. I'm looking at the straight financial. How much bang do I get for my buck? Right. That's the bottom line.
You want as much money as possible.
Sure. Okay. You guys want to continue with this or move on to something else? Sam, do you have any CDs that you... can we play any CDs?
You want to play some music?
Yeah.
All right.
You have CDs? Oh, I thought... No. I thought Sam had CDs from choir practice.
No,
okay.
we don't have any
okay.
CDs.
All right. We don't
I was going to play some Beatles.
Okay, yeah.
You have to come see it.
Okay.
The live is much better anyway.
Not even a little tease, huh? Okay, no
Maybe
tease.
next show.
Okay, next show. Yeah, after the fact. Okay. Let's see. There's one thing. Go ahead.
We have the animal rights issue, Joe.
Yeah.
If you want to talk a little on that, how do the girls feel about killing animals for
Okay, here
clothing?
you go. Okay. Pet it, kill it, wear it. That's the article that was presented here. It's no surprise that animal rights have been a big thing in America. For as long as the history of the world, we have depended on animals to live for meat and food as well as for fur. The problem is it really fair to the animal? That's the bottom line question.
Well, I myself, I'm a vegetarian.
Okay.
I love animals so much. I've had pets all my life, and I love animals. I can't go to zoos I can't see animals caged up. It doesn't seem fair to me how animals don't have the freedom that humans do. Just because humans have... humans are mammals, and animals, the animals which are mammals also, it doesn't really seem too different from each other. I understand animals are animals and we're humans, but it doesn't seem fair. We would never think to kill a human for to wear them as clothes or a purse or a coat. It seems awful to think of that, but it in a way it's similar to what's happening to animals.
The thing about zoos is that sometimes they're rescue, and so like reservations and rescues, and a lot of zoos are not just like capturing animals and like putting them in the cage like now, but are rescuing them and helping the animals. And a lot of animals are bred there, and it's not their fault because their parent is hurt or whatever. And sometimes zoos can be like, okay.
Yeah. I understand that because those are the types of zoos I love. I love going to the rescue shelters to see animals which have been abused or have been hurt or wounded be able to make a recovery and have a good life. And a lot of the zoos now, actually, they're improving and having... It's said that some are actually... I think it was an older fact that animals in the wild lived longer than in a zoo. And I think that that's an important thing to change, because if an animal... If you're... many people go to zoos to see the animals because it's incredible to see an animal that would usually be in the wild in front of your eyes that you can't experience. And it's very important that animals have their freedom, because if they don't have their freedom, then that could affect anything. It could affect the way they're eating, the way they're sleeping, the way that they're evolving, if they still are at all. They're changing, and that could end up actually killing them off in a way, certain animals. If that makes sense.
Okay, question. You have animals in the zoo.
Mm-hmm.
if you had the ability to release those animals, would you do it?
It depends, because some of those animals they cannot live in the wild because they've been either born or taken into the zoo at a young age and haven't been able to learn how to get their own food or learn how to defend themselves against predators, because there's always going to be predators. So probably not.
Okay. All right. Is there a difference, in your opinion, from animals being used in experimental labs, be it for cosmetics or for the benefit of medical science, as there is to eating animals?
With the cosmetics thing, it's a definite no. Like, there's no point in that. If you can, there's brands that are all eco-friendly, never test on animals, so why can't all brands be like that?
Okay.
But with the medical, it gets a little, like, up in the air, because there's good points where, it'll help, like, save humans, but also you don't want to torture animals, but we still want new vaccines and new, like, things that will help us overcome disease, so that one's different.
Okay, so it's, I don't want to say it's an ethical issue, but it's more of an issue for limitations, if you will, on experimentation.
Depends on the circumstances,
right,
too.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Okay. Our last issue for today, Doctor, is school sports. The after effect. We lost our school sports last year. All our school sports were canceled, taken away, and a lot of the students want to know, and they've been asking about what effect it's had on high-tech high school. So, Doctor?
Okay, a number of students have come to me asking whether or not sports would ever come back to high-tech. At this point, I would have to say no. And it's a financial situation at this point. I mean, I'm sure there are other issues involved, but the primary reason is financial. Has it hurt high-tech? I think it's hurt high-tech insofar as the teamwork and the ability that the students have to learn to work with others, to learn to work as a team. I think that that's going to be lacking. And to some extent, we're going to have an intramural program. They still will have the ability to get on a team and work with the team, work with a coach. Unfortunately, it only goes so far, since we cannot play competitively other than with our sister school at County Prep or some of the alternative programs that we have here or in County Prep. So, yeah, you're going to have the teamwork aspect still in place. You won't have the competitive aspect. That's one thing. It has not had an effect on the number of student applicants for this year. We had an open house a couple of weeks ago, and it was amazing the number of people that were here who still want their children to come to high-tech. We had over 3,000 people here.
All-time record, right?
Yeah, it had to be. It had to be. They were lined up down 85th Street. So I was happy. Unfortunately, by the same token, after you look at it, I was extremely upset, because I know out of those 3,000 people, roughly 1,200 were students. I'm only going to be able to accept 150 to 160. So I have to be the bad guy and say, you can't come here because. So, when you look at it from that point of view, it's a great school. Obviously, people still want to come here, and I'm the one who has to say, sorry. I can honestly say students have not chosen not to attend high-tech because of not having a sports program. So with that in mind, that makes me extremely happy.
Well, I think it's kind of I'm not involved in too many sports, but I know a bunch of my sister's friends who are now seniors were on teams and they were hoping to get scholarships for college. So that was a big thing that my sister had told me about. And it doesn't affect me in too many ways because I'm fine with having the gym class that I have, and that's completely fine with me. But there would be a possibility that I would have joined a sports team of some kind here, and it's a shame, but I didn't come here to do sports. I came myself to do musical theater. So
Okay.
yeah.
Dr. Giamarello,
Yes.
do you feel it's affected the morale in any way of the school, or have you noticed any spirit change?
I don't think it has. And I haven't really noticed anybody saying, oh my God, the school is no good because we don't have sports. Let me just say one thing, that if a student elects to play a sport, they can't play in their home district. So if you want to play football and you live in North Bergen, you can play football on the North Bergen team. Again, provided you make the team. Soccer, tennis, we have cheerleaders who go back to their own district. It's a little difficult, obviously, because they have to make arrangements to get to wherever they have to go. Some of the coaches will come to pick them up. If they can get to their home fields for a practice, they can get there by going on a 3 o'clock bus, or their parents could come and pick them up and we'll let them go. So there is the ability to play sports. I think the ability to get scholarships, if you're good enough to get a scholarship playing sports, whether it's here or North Bergen or Secaucus or Kearney or wherever you're playing, I think that possibility is still going to exist. Because if you're playing at that level, you're going to play at that level wherever you play. It's a shame that we can't say, well, because Johnny played basketball at High Tech, he's getting a scholarship to go to Villanova. I would love to say that, and I'm sure Johnny would love to have that on his resume. Unfortunately, he's going to have to play someplace else. And that's unfortunate for him. It's unfortunate for us.
Okay. Well, any other comments or questions before we end the show?
Do you think that there's any, like you said, you don't think there's a way that sports will ever come back?
At this point.
At this point.
Right.
Any of the financial cuts, is there any possibility that those will be given back? And was there anything else that was cut other than the sports that might?
There were a lot of things that were cut. Some were cut cosmetically. For example, the extracurricular activities that we have. You have as many extracurricular activities now as we had last year. Unfortunately, this year, the teachers are getting a little bit less to do the extracurriculars. The LEAP program's the same thing. You know, we have a lot of LEAP programs. Some schedule changes were made for performing arts teachers, for example. So they're working, Mr. Shepard is working from 10 to 6 or 10 to 5. Mr. Perez is working Tuesday through Saturday. So they adjusted their schedule to accommodate the needs of the students, especially for play rehearsals, the musical practices that Mr. Shepard has. Same thing with Mr. Killian. He's there because he wants to make sure you have as much of an opportunity to participate in LEAP classes, which we would not have been able to do had I had to keep everything separate. So we had to do some creative thinking, some creative scheduling, and some creative adjustments to make sure that the students still had at least what they had last year. If you look at it from that point of view, we may be strapped financially again next year. And I'm not going to say that it's not going to happen. It's possible. We can have the same type of budget next year as we do this year. If that's the case, we're going to have to do the same thing. We're going to have to adjust. We're going to have to reorganize, and we're going to have to adapt to whatever situations that we have.
Okay. Well, is that about it? Anything else you want to cover, Doctor?
Let me just take a look here. I think we covered just about everything. Yeah, for the most part, that's about it.
I want to thank.
I just thought of something.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday, the 9th,
Right.
there will be a Mix It Up. It's a freshman social. I believe it's a freshman social. It's sponsored by the Council of Diversity. Basically, it's get to know everybody in the school. So if you're in the area, obviously you'll be in the area on the 9th. It's a school day. If you have the ability to be here at 3 o'clock or 3:15 in the resource room, that's where it'll be. So
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Okay, one last thing before we go. I have 40 seconds, so we'll have to make it fit. Did you know, or do you know, the answer to this? What did Charlie Brown's father do for a living? If you don't know, it's in the yellow pages. So check it out next week. Okay. Thank you for listening. This is the Doctor's In.
All right. Doctor, before we go, I just want to thank our contributors to the show today. For my freshman broadcasting class, Thomas Dollagon, Frank Jakubowski, Daniel Mikado, and Brandon Santiago. And from my Broadcasting 2 class, Roberto Uziqua, Alexander Sanofsky, and Lizette Vargas. Thank you for your articles and for your contribution to the show. So that's about it, Doctor.
Okay, thank you to my guests, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.